What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Haptic Intel. Today we have a little bit of a special video for all of you. We have a special guest with us, Charles Watson, the creator of the GG video game tracker app website, something that Brett and I have used a long time. If you're familiar with our channel, you know we've used it for video series in the past. And yeah, so welcome, Charles, a very special guest. We appreciate you taking time out of your day to chat with us and join us in just kind of talking about video games and GG and who you are and what you hope for the future and yeah, why GG is so awesome too.
It's good to be here.
So maybe just start with introducing yourself to everybody, who you are, your background. Did you go to school for coding and like app development, stuff like that, just to give everybody kind of a flavor for who you are.
Yeah, so I've been programming for, I think, 8 years now. I think it'll be 9 this summer, fall. But yeah, I taught myself. Just been learning everything as I go, building projects, working random client projects here and there, and then eventually working full time with it. So,
what is GG in your words? Like, if you had to boil it down, what would you say GG is?
I mean, the simple 5-word thing is letterboxed for video games. Yeah, I started it because I was getting so many recommendations from like different podcasts and groups I was in, and I was apart from gaming for like 12 years, so I was like way out of the loop, and I needed somewhere to track everything, like somewhere to put all this, because like no one wants to just use a notes app in their phone. But and I was at the same time like wanting to have some like my own kind of business going, so I thought that this would be a good place to start.
Yeah.
So does it bother you when people call it the letterbox for games, or do you embrace that?
I definitely embrace it because it helps with advertising.
Sure.
I mean,
Yeah.
Letterboxd is pretty well known now, so people instantly know what the app is about when they hear that. So
Yeah. It's funny.
Yeah.
I see you on Twitter all the time, respond to people, and I don't know. So this is a selfish question, but like, do you search for that like on Twitter?
I can't
with
give up
people?
my secrets.
Because I see you respond because it comes across my timeline. I'm like, man, he is on it with like poking these people or people, because there's a lot of people that are like, we need a letterbox for games, and I'm like, there is one, and then I go on Twitter and I see you respond to all these people. So
Yeah.
Maybe two, if you want to touch on it, and I you did maybe a little bit, but if you want to elaborate on it or maybe tell us the meaning or your intention behind it. In the footer of the site and the app, you say quote, made by one person who wants to get through his backlog someday. How big is your backlog still? Like, is that still pretty true?
I mean, if you count that 1,500 game itch bundle, I think my wanna playlist in the app is close to 500 games right now.
Wow.
A lot of that is stuff that I already own, but mostly stuff I don't have yet.
So you mentioned that you like got out of the loop on gaming for a little bit. What time frame was that? Like, what generation of games did you miss out on?
Like the most important ones. I stopped playing sometime before the 360 came out.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So that was probably like late junior high ish for me, which that was a long time ago. But
yeah.
So you missed out on quite a few like formative games. Yeah.
Yeah, because that's like the formative era of video games for us specifically.
Yeah, for our generation.
So that's funny.
PS2 was my favorite from back then.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So is and I know you posted about it, and I forget exactly. I thought we took a note. Oh yeah. So is GG your full-time job now? Because we saw that you made an announcement earlier this year on Twitter where you said that you said a little late for a 2021 goal, but you have 20.2 thousand what is that, annual revenue
Yeah,
for it. So is that enough to kind of keep you
no,
afloat, your full-time job? You have other
no.
stuff that you do too?
I have a full-time job and a couple other side things going as well. So I'm very busy all the time.
Yeah. Is getting GG to a point where it is like your full-time job and totally like sustainable and putting like, I guess for lack of a better term, bread on the table, your kind of ultimate goal with
Yeah,
that?
definitely. Um, yeah, it's been my goal for a long time to have my own business, that just to work for myself, basically.
Sure.
So let me ask you a question. How is GG monetized? Is it all 100% the elite memberships? Is that where all that comes
Yes.
from?
Yep. 100%
Awesome.
through the elite memberships.
Wow.
I I hate ads. And
Everyone does, yeah.
like everyone at this point, I feel like everyone has an ad blocker installed anyways. So I just figured keep the site nice and clean and just don't worry about that. And
Yeah.
have subscriptions.
Yeah, and that kind of adds another layer to the whole experience of the app too, because it's community based. It brings that
Mhm.
community closer together. It's something that's you created it, but everyone that uses it helps support it, and I think
Right.
that helps a lot.
Yeah. So if you want to support GG, well, first of all, if you don't use it yet, I think you should be using it. Second of all, if you want to directly support the app and everything, all the costs associated with that, get an elite membership, I guess.
Absolutely.
So we touched a little bit on gaming, but why don't we talk maybe a little bit more about that, since that's really the reason that we're here, right? Is the love of video games. So you talked a little bit about the generation that you skipped, but maybe going back further than that, if you can reach into your mind palace and remember, what is your earliest like gaming memory or maybe thing associated with gaming you actually can recall?
Earliest. I think the original Game Boy, it was probably my earliest
Wow.
experience with gaming. There's a couple like racing games and some Pokemon, obviously, and some a little later big ones are like Tony Hawk's Pro Skater,
Mm,
um, Mist on PC,
wow.
Warcraft 2, which I still think is the best one.
Nice.
Command and Conquer, yeah, stuff like that. Diablo,
Yeah.
all the
You ready?
classics.
You ready for Diablo 4?
I don't know if I have time to put into those kind of games now.
Yeah, if it even comes out. I mean, who knows what's going
Yeah.
on with that game? Who knows?
So, what would you say then is your favorite game of all time, or even like your favorite franchise, if you had to pick one?
That's tough. I feel like I'm still like trying to get back into it, even though it's been a couple years now. But I've just been like so busy with building the app, not having a ton of time for
Mm,
actual gaming. But definitely recent is the new God of War and Horizon. Those are definitely up there, and the Ori series is also up there.
yeah.
So it's funny you mentioned that because I checked your GG profile before the interview, and I saw that you had both of the Ori games. I think at 5 stars, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so that's awesome. But that leads me to another question I have for you.
You don't know how Brett has been dying to ask you this.
So
Oh boy.
we use GG to create a whole video series, as we've mentioned several times. And we basically ranked all of our favorite games, the top 50, both of us did. And then we came up with a list of, together our top 50 greatest games of all time. And it turned out that God of War was our number one. So when I looked at your profile and I saw you gave God of War a 4.5, I have to know, what was it that took that half of a star away?
Okay, first of all, you have to know that I do not have a very strict rubric for rating games.
That's fair.
I just
That's
kind
fair.
of do whatever. We did just come up with a rubric for the official account, so I might start following that. But
Oh,
I think it was the ending was too abrupt. Like it
mm,
just, I mean, maybe I should have anticipated it, but I felt like it just came out of nowhere, and I was like, "That's it." I
yeah.
don't know, but that doesn't necessarily detract from the game as a whole.
No, it makes complete sense. What I think is possible to to go off of what you think there. When they wrote the game, I believe Cory Barlog, the director, I think he mentioned in an interview that they wrote like 1.5 games basically, and they were like, "Hold on, we can't put all of this in one game. There's too
Yeah,
much." So I think at one point they just like cut it so that they could make the next one. So your point's valid. I mean, I
Yeah.
think
yeah.
that's probably what happened.
Yeah. But
And
also,
this is sort of a
please.
coincidence, but sure.
Oh, very nice.
Nice.
That shirt is awesome.
That's actually really cool.
Where did you get that?
People, it's on the tag. I'm not
That's
sure.
okay.
I can tell you after.
That's all right.
um, People are like, "Why are you wearing a picture of yourself on your shirt?"
You do have a gnarly beard. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
I try.
Mine's very short now. I'll have to shave it off soon too for something else that I'm doing, and that's gonna make me really sad when that has to go.
Baby faces.
Yeah, but
The
I
worst.
I understand that because like towards the end of God of War, I think what took me by surprise, and it's not didn't attract my enjoyment of it, but there's that huge reveal with Atreus, right?
Mhm.
And
Mm.
then the ending is pretty much right after that, and it's
Yeah,
like,
that's why I was
whoa,
like,
whoa,
"That's
wait,
it."
wait a second, wait a second, we need to reconcile the information that just happened, you know?
Yeah,
So
Totally.
yeah,
so on the other side, typically like Brett is usually more so the voice of reason on our channel. He's usually the much kinder one. I'm normally the louder one, probably a little bit more annoying to people. Probably the reason that we lose subscribers. But what is then conversely your least favorite game of all time? If there's like a game where somebody says it, like it makes like your skin crawl. You're like, why does this exist? Something like in the realm of like Balan Wonderland that's just like a total mess.
um, well, again, with this app, I've kind of been curating what I decide to play a lot more, going off of high recommendations, and usually it's things that I would enjoy. And since I don't have a lot of time to game, there's not a lot that I don't like. Um, but so we have a book club for games in the
Mhm.
GG Discord.
Yep.
We played Kentucky Route Zero
Oh yeah.
recently.
Yeah.
I did not like that game.
Yeah.
That
Did you
was
play?
one of our most divisive discussions. It lasted like 3.5 hours.
Did you play the? Isn't there like two versions of it? There's like a
There-
TV
yeah, there's
version.
like the TV. Yeah, I played the regular
Okay.
one that's on Steam.
Yeah, I don't know the difference, but
Yeah, I didn't get very far because I didn't like it. But,
wow. Okay. And what kind of game is it? Because I honestly I have no idea.
uh, I don't
Puzzle,
even know.
walking sim.
Is it like a point and click type of thing?
Yeah, it is.
Oh.
Lots
what I
of
thought.
reading. I mean,
Mm.
I don't have anything against reading. I just it wasn't grabbing me.
Yeah. Don't want to do it
So-
in your video games.
So you mentioned something that I think is really interesting. So being the one behind GG, you have a wealth of data that you could see, I'm sure, on the back end, right?
Yeah.
So you kind of have like the best job in the world because people like just like rate games for you and you just like, oh, this is the best game on the app. Obviously, this is what I'm going to play. So that must be awesome for you.
I never thought about it that way, but that's a good way to put it.
It's like a curated list of the best
Yeah.
games.
Yeah. I was just gonna check what that is right now, but I think it was God of War.
Yeah.
There you go.
I believe it.
I think God of War and Spider-Man and probably Breath of the Wild. Those are all in the top.
Yeah.
That makes sense. I knew about GG before I saw it on Kind of Funny, being the YouTube show. I think what happened was I was looking for a Letterboxd for games, and I came across GG. Before that, though, I've been obsessed with trying to find something like that where I could like track my games and log my games. And I know there's like other apps out there that have done similar things where you could like log every game you own kind of thing, but nothing to the extent of what you have with GG. So when I finally found it, I was like, holy shit, this is the one. Like, this is it. But then I saw Kind of Funny was talking about it. How did that whole thing transpire? Like, did you reach out to them, or did someone on the team like find it and then reach out to you? Like, what happened there?
Actually, someone from the GG community who was a best friend for a long time reached out to them, and then we worked that all out. Yep.
That's really cool. So did you get a lot of new users after they kind of picked it up?
Yeah, so we actually did a discount code promo on subscription, and that brought in a good bit. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, that's cool.
Really cool.
Yeah, I remember explicitly when we started using GG, because Brett got really pissed off because Letterboxd, right? It all comes back to freaking Letterboxd. Brett like tweeted at them or something, or said, when can we do this for video games? When are you going to add video games or something like that? And they responded, with something cryptic, I believe. And then they were like, they came out a couple weeks later and like, oh yeah, we're never doing it.
Yeah.
We're like, all right.
They might have, hold on. They might have actually been the ones that tagged GG, like added them on Twitter.
A couple of years ago, they were tagging me a bit when people asked.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's where I might have seen it.
Okay.
So, but yeah, you're right. I was pissed off because I was like, hey, can you add games or can you add anime to Letterboxd? And they were like, nah, we just do movies. And I was like, you're missing an opportunity here.
I mean, I understand where they're coming from. It's like tracking games is such a different beast than tracking movies or tracking books. People have asked me a lot to do other mediums. I've considered it.
Yeah. So how do you feed, like, this might not be the most interesting question for somebody to listen to, but how do you feed the back end like information? Like, how do you populate basically the platform with games? Because for example, like Letterboxd I think uses like the movie database or something like that to populate all like the metadata and stuff. How do you do that for games? Because there's nothing like that exists for games, at least that I'm aware of.
There is actually.
And okay. Well, I don't know.
I don't use it anymore. We have our own database, and trying to get to the point of like a TMDB kind of thing. But yeah, everything now is completely crowdsourced.
Okay.
Well, not completely. I have some of it automated from like Steam data and a couple other places.
Cool.
Nice. I think I actually remember when you guys made that switch. I think that there was like certain things like artwork or something that went.
Yeah, we lost all our images.
Yeah,
we've been working very hard to get it all back.
Well, you've done a great job. I've noticed quite a few of them have been updated since then. So you guys are doing an awesome job.
When I first switched, I spent like probably 4 weeks just photoshopping covers and pulling covers from like all the different stores and stuff. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I think there's like 130,000 games in the database right now. Wow. That's counting like DLC and editions and stuff. But out of that, I think we have around 50,000 that have covers. It's a decent chunk.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
Well, your hard work saved me a lot of time when we did that video series, because I could just save all of them and they were all the same size. I was like, this is perfect for the video game covers. I didn't have to like edit them myself. So if that's any consolation for your hard work.
So you plagiarized his work? You just used his images? He spent hours photoshopping? 4 weeks?
Yes, I downloaded all of your cover images for all of our games for editing purposes. So it saved me a lot of time. I hope that's some small consolation.
On a related note, I don't know if you saw, we just partnered with Fantasy Critic to supply them with cover art.
That's amazing. I did not see that.
That's really cool. What is Fantasy Critic?
It's like fantasy football, but for video games.
Oh yeah.
So you like set up your own publisher, and then you choose different games that are coming out throughout the year.
That's
You
cool.
get points based on their Open Critic ratings.
That's cool. We were actually just talking about that with somebody. I forget.
Yeah, yeah. Christian from Save Before Quitting podcast, he actually started it with his friends, and he was trying to get us to join on. So that's really cool, actually, that it's all coming full circle.
Yeah.
Very cool.
So we want to loop back to the app, I think, once we get to the end of it, but maybe to shift focus for a second outside of gaming. What, if any, hobbies do you have that are not like gaming related? That you enjoy doing.
Yeah. I have 2 kids, so I spend a lot of time with them and my wife. And but outside of that, I pretty much like programming is my hobby and also my job. So when I'm not with my family, it's that.
Mm-hmm.
I am trying to get into like 3D modeling. I want to eventually make my own um, collectible figure. So
That's awesome.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. Do you collect figures? Like, do you have like an action figure collection?
I have a. I'm trying to do more like art toy type stuff.
Gotcha.
I don't have a huge collection yet, but
Nice.
I also like have some stuff that I've 3D printed, like this little
Oh yeah.
Mario,
Nice. Oh, that's cool.
Cool.
Yeah.
some other things.
That's
Oh,
awesome.
I also have this, which a lot of people enjoy.
Oh wow, that's freaking awesome.
Did you
Really
hand paint
cool.
that?
I did, yeah.
That's really
Very cool.
cool.
Oh, I just noticed it's all dusty.
That's
It's gonna look
It's
terrible.
all good.
really cool. That's really, really cool.
Yeah.
So big question too for you before we loop back to the app. Are you more of a physical media person or digital?
Ooh, good question.
It depends on how impatient I am.
Good answer.
That's
Like,
fair.
if I want something right now and don't want to have to go to the store and get it, I'll just download it.
Yeah.
But
That's fair.
but yeah, like for books, I prefer physical, but I mean, I do digital a lot too. I don't know, just depends.
Yeah. Brett and I are on opposite ends of the spectrum with that.
Yeah, we are.
I like digital because I am extremely impatient. So when he's like, "Yeah, this game comes out tomorrow," I'm like, "Yep, I'll be playing it at midnight when it unlocks on my console or my PC." And he's like, "You're really not gonna wait for me?" Nope.
Well, as I mentioned before, like I was interested in an app that would allow me to like log games, and that also meant like logging like what I owned. So
Too.
I'm a big collector of physical media. So
Yeah, and that is why I think GG2 is cool because it's just a way to catalog it, and then you don't have, especially for me where my library is completely digital. Sometimes accessing that or scrolling through it for years to remember if I had a game so I don't buy it if it's on sale or something is like a chore. So having
Yeah.
a place to log it all where I can
Yeah.
go in and search more easily instead
Yeah.
of searching across, the 40,000 devices that I own games on, is really cool. So
yeah, I have a list on GG that's like want to buy. I made it, and it's just all the games that I am looking to buy in the future.
Mhm.
And like Josh said, it's so much easier and better to have that than a notepad, quick
Yeah.
little note that I type up, because then I can see, what the cover art looks like. I can see, the score of it, so I can like kind of prioritize what games I
Mhm.
want to get first. So
Yeah, or like if you log something when it's first announced and then 2 years later when it finally comes out and it has
Right.
bad reviews, you can see that and you're like, oh, I don't want that
Right.
anymore.
Yeah.
Exactly. I actually noticed in your Twitter bio that you have a roadmap for GG. So I've seen this, quite a few quite a few places where apps or software as a service companies will have like a roadmap or a suggestion box where users can put stuff. But I think that yours was really awesome in that you have not only like the things that you're working on, you have things that you're planning to do in the future, but also there's things that you're just considering, and people can go in there and upvote all these different features that you might add to the app, which I think is really awesome.
Yeah, I like having that. Pretty much everything on there is all stuff I already planned on doing, but or thought about doing. Um, but yeah, it's good.
Yeah,
Good
it'll
way
help
to
you
keep track of it
prioritize
all.
it.
Yeah,
You could see the upvotes that people have given it. So
yeah.
I'm looking now. It says in progress. The ability to search, browse by console, developer, and other criteria. Is that you say you're working on that right now?
Um, technically, no. Um,
Okay.
that part's a little outdated. So I started like a big under the hood change around Christmas time, and it's not been going well. So I'm trying to
Mm.
like undo everything right now, which I'm almost done with. Probably be done in a couple more days, but um, yeah, after I'm done with that, there's a couple things I want to get in um, before I do a new App Store version, which is going to be version update notifications, which is not very exciting.
Mm.
But and then another thing that people have been asking for constantly every day is being able to set the order of your lists on your profile,
Mm. Mm.
which to me that's like, do you really need that? But apparently a lot of people want it. So
How many lists do people have?
a lot. Some people have, apparently people like GG has made them into list people.
Wow.
Like
Wow.
on Letterboxd they didn't make as many lists, but now that they have GG, they're making all kinds of lists.
Yeah.
So
Well, that's cool.
yeah.
I guess.
But yeah, so I'm gonna try and get that in soon after I'm done with what I'm working on now. And then yeah, just a lot of stuff on my to-do list.
Yeah. What maybe out of all of the things, either you want to implement like yourself or like stuff that people have recommended or maybe are in the works already, what out of all those makes you the most excited? What's like something where you're like, when we just do this, it's going to be freaking incredible. You know what I mean? And it might not be one thing, but
uh, so two big things are the new collection system and the new playthrough system that I want to build. The collection system basically just a big list. You can add tags to all your games, and you can add anything. It doesn't have to be through like the play statuses like it is
mm,
currently. And you'll be able to write notes about all the games. What else? Track ownership through like tags or whatever. There's a lot. I don't remember
Yeah, when
what.
you add tags to it, there's a lot you'll be able to do. You could do a
Yeah,
lot with tags.
yeah,
That's
for
awesome.
sure. But yeah, I want like a central hub for people's collections that's not part of like the play status stuff. Um, like having a way to like sort of basically have like a dashboard per game that's in your collection, so you can see like your reviews or drafts, all your notes, your playthrough
mm.
stuff. Um, yeah, it's going to be intense.
Brett, what about these couple things you wrote down here as far as suggestions or things that you wanted to ask about?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think some of these are in the roadmap, so I didn't
Yeah.
want to. I wrote them down here, but then I looked at the roadmap and I was like, I think these are probably going to be in there eventually. So I wrote, like I mentioned, I'm a physical collector. So I wrote having an owned category so that collectors can mark off which games they actually have in their collection. I'm
Yep.
sure you've heard that a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. So with the tag system, like you could do that easily, but I want to make it more involved than that. Like I'm not sure how yet, but yeah.
Like what platform you own it on?
Um yeah, yeah, that's something that would be good. And then I don't know. Basically, I'm trying to figure out how to monetize it, because if I add
Yeah.
tags, like that makes it easy to avoid upgrading. That
Mm,
makes sense. Like,
Yep.
yeah,
I mean, I've given away a lot for free compared to a lot of other
sure.
sites. So I need to
Yeah.
have something to entice people to support.
Sure.
Yeah, that makes sense. And then, I mean, another thing that I can think of with that is, you know, possibly, and this kind of ties in with what I just said, but like game price history, or like if a game is on sale, like I think that
Mhm.
would be also something pretty cool to include as well. And that kind of
Yeah,
might go with that. Like if someone puts a game in their collection in their profile, they'll be able to see like how much that game goes for now or
right.
whatever.
Yeah, so that's something like if they're just using tags to track, then they wouldn't necessarily get that granularity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I'm sure you've heard this. I'm sure you've heard everything. I mean, I can't even imagine the suggestions you get.
It's
So,
very rare that someone says something that I haven't thought of yet.
Yeah.
I'm
Which
sure.
I'm not trying to like toot my own horn, but I've put a lot of thought into everything.
It's your app. It's what you do. I mean, yeah, I can't even imagine. Like, you've thought of everything, I'm sure. And you're even at the level where you're trying to think of how can I make money off of this? Like, how can I monetize this? Because if I give this feature, what's the
Right.
point of buying the monetized,
Yeah.
option
Yeah.
on the app?
Like, so related to that, right now you can pin your lists, which sort of is like list ordering. But then if I add list ordering, then that defeats the purpose of pinning lists because
Yeah,
Sure.
so yeah.
it's double-edged sword.
Yeah.
Has the community, you think, generally been pretty good surrounding the app? Not just in Discord, but maybe like on Twitter and things like that. Like, have you generally had a pretty positive experience with people, or has it been a little difficult at points? I guess kind of rallying the troops or quelling people's, vulgarity, for lack of a better term.
Um a lot of people in the Discord have said that this is the best community that they've ever been in, period, which I think is awesome.
Yeah.
I haven't noticed any, trying to think, I haven't noticed any kind of negative stuff around it,
Mm,
like on Twitter or anything.
that's good.
There could always be stuff happening behind closed doors I don't know
Sure.
about, but
Sure. Yeah, I meant more so just directed towards you or stuff that you've had to
Yeah.
deal with. But that's good.
yeah, I haven't had to deal with anything really.
That's great.
That's amazing. I have to get on Discord, man. So I feel like I'm an old man when it comes to Discord. I use Reddit, and I feel like a lot of people still use Reddit, but now I'm like hearing people say like, "Oh, it's on the Discord server," and I'm like, "Okay, I thought Discord was just like talking to people. I don't use it for like communities, so I got to like figure that out and get involved with that."
Yeah,
'Cause-
it's a different beast being in the chat community. Like I've had I've been on Discord since 2016, I think, early
Mm.
2016. And yeah, it's just a whole different thing.
I can't even imagine.
Yeah.
That's cool though. It's cool that you have a community on there, and it's a positive community. That's the
Yeah.
best thing you could ask for.
Yep.
My last question I think I have for you is and then Brett, you can ask as many more as you want, but one that I wanted to ask you is just outside of like the granularity of like what the features you want to add for the website and the app, where do you, I guess, ultimately like want GG to be, like 3 years from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now? Like, what do you see as like the grand picture in the future for it?
I want it to be like the go-to app for game collections, which I definitely think it could be by then. Sort of relate to that, like every once in a while I'll see people say, "Oh, I just found Letterboxd. It's like GG but for movies." I'm like, yes,
That's amazing.
Like, that's awesome.
That's cool.
So I do have a question. Have you noticed any competition? Like
Mm.
you said, like you want to be like the best. I think to me, you already are the best, and to me, you're the only one doing it that I know of. Do you have competition? Like, are there other, and you don't have to name names, obviously, but are there other apps out there doing what you do now?
Yes, there are.
Okay.
Someone in the community was actually working on a video comparing. I think they found like 20 different ones.
Oh my gosh,
Um,
really?
yeah, all in various stages. Like some have been around for 20 years and haven't been updated much.
Mhm.
But yeah, there's only maybe one or two that I feel like are strong competition.
Mhm.
But I mean, if you look at like to do apps, like there's a million of those and all of them can do well. It just, they do things their own way and people gravitate towards one way or another. And yeah.
Yeah, I feel like that database though that you guys are building is probably what's going to set you apart from
Mhm.
the competition. I
Yeah,
would imagine.
I definitely agree with that. But there's also competition there. So
I hear you.
Yeah, believe it.
All right,
Yeah,
that's my last question, Josh.
maybe before we wrap up, is there anything that you wanted to chat about or tell people or even ask us? I mean, I know people probably are not that interested in us, but anything that you want to bring up or chat about that maybe we didn't get to regarding the app yourself. I mean, life, you know.
um, what have you guys been playing lately?
Mm.
It's a good question.
Dying Light 2.
Nice.
It's
You're trying to get that 500-hour mark.
I'm going to be one of the people that get there because I want to platinum the game and it just does not respect your time at all.
Yeah.
At all. It's so arduous. Like I'm 28 plus hours into it and like I can just start to play the game, really. Like to
Oh.
actually go for things that I need. It takes so long to get into and it is I mean, listen, I like the game. Don't get me wrong. It's good, but it is a little bit of a disappointment. I don't like games that don't respect your time, where it's like you
Yeah.
have to do so many cumbersome things, and then
Mhm.
Brett can't even fricking play the game.
Yeah, I was gonna say. So talking about a game wasting your time. So I'm also playing Dying Light 2, or I was. I experienced a glitch where,
Oh no.
so I'm like 10 to 15 hours in, and I tried to join Josh to play some co-op for the first time, and I joined his game, and then it kicked me immediately. And when I went back to my game, my single player game, I died instantly, and now I'm in a loop of
Oh
perpetual
no.
death, where every 4 seconds I just die.
Oh
So I can't progress the game. They're working on a fix, but I'll tell you what, my score on GG is going to go down a couple stars because of that.
yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but yeah,
What about you? Right this second, you playing anything that's catching your
Um,
interest? You really
yeah, I
enjoy?
started Pokemon.
Mm,
Just the first
Legends.
Pokemon. Yeah. First Pokemon
Nice.
game I played since Yellow.
Holy
So
shit.
wow. Wow.
technically I played Sun, but I
Mm,
didn't play for very long and I didn't really like it. So I'm not counting that one.
yeah. Wow.
Hmm.
So what do you
That's
But
really
yeah,
interesting.
what do you think?
I like it a lot so far. The intro was very long, but
Yes.
like
Very long
2 hours
tutorial.
long.
Yeah.
Really? Wow.
They finally like let you free and you're like, thank God, like I can actually play the game now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. As soon as I was let free though, I got stomped by a Rapidash
The big one?
alpha.
Yeah.
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 I've heard. So wait, do they actually have like appropriate sizes of the Pokemon in the world when you run
Yeah.
around?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard that, and I feel like it would be a little jarring because I'm so used to seeing the sprites like run
Hmm.
around, if at all.
Yeah.
But that's
Yeah.
cool.
And then there's alpha Pokemon, Josh, which are
Yeah.
giant versions of the small Pokemon you would see. So
No, I need to finish Shining Diamond uh, first, or Shining Pearl, or whatever the hell it's called.
the remake,
The
yeah.
remake before I go on because I'm a Pokemon newbie. I the first one I played and beat really was Let's Go Eevee.
Nice.
So yeah. But anyway, anything else that you want to chat about or bring up before we kind of close out?
Subscribe to Elite.
Yes.
I need about 1,500 more subscribers. to make
Okay.
this a full-time thing. So
1,500 more
Well,
subscribers. Okay.
I think that's attainable. I don't think
It's
that's
I'm
ridiculous.
at like 500 right now after about 2 years. So
Mm.
hopefully it doesn't take another 6 years to get to 1,500.
Yeah. Well, we will
Definitely subscribe
yeah,
to Elite.
we will help push that as much as we
Yeah.
can. But on that note, where can people find, access, download, GG, etc., find you, you know?
Yeah, the website is ggapp.io, and you can get to the mobile apps by going to ggapp.io/apps. Um,
Cool. And
Awesome.
Apple and Android?
yep.
Right?
Yeah.
Cool.
Very cool.
Well, that's it. We really appreciate you taking the time to chat with us, Charles. It means a lot.
Yeah.
You know, we are a small channel, but we have been using GG for a long time, so it's really cool to talk with you about it, pick your brain, learn who's behind the app itself. And you're very welcome back here anytime. If you ever need anything, please, you know, we
gotta have him on for the full show because this
oh
was
yeah,
just an interview.
this is not our normal. So we do a live podcast every week, and that's just
nice.
what we've done for a while. So we do it live constantly.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're very welcome back anytime. We really appreciate it. So
Cool. Sounds good.
Thanks,
I'd
man.
love to be back.
thank you.
I know we're not Macaulay Culkin, but
Yeah,
We're
that was
almost
so
there.
weird.
Wait,
I don't-
that's whose
like-
podcast you were on?
No.
Oh,
So
I was about to say.
like 2 or 3 weeks ago, I did another podcast,
Mhm.
and then that night I had a dream that I was on his podcast.
Oh my
Like
god.
it was so weird.
That's how I initiated contact between us. I was like, dude, I know we're not Macaulay Culkin, but you can come on our podcast
Oh.
anytime you want.
Yeah.
Oh,
So,
that's cool.
and he does have a podcast.
Yeah.
Macaulay Culkin,
Yeah.
he does.
I did not even know
So-
that. You guys are blowing my mind. Wow.
I guess that'll be my like ultimate goal is to be on his podcast.
Like,
That would
There
be
you go.
amazing.
there you go.
Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe to Haptic Intel. Did you do it? Subscribe right now.